Welcome back, my name's Steve and thank you for joining me on my photography journey today. Today it's another part of our Lightroom Classic tutorials, and today I want to look at masking and what you can do with it, how that can help you make local adjustments and use the tools that you've learned over the last few weeks, but in smaller places rather than in the overall picture. So let's jump into Lightroom Classic and have a look. So here we are back to our bridge picture, and we're in our library module at the moment. So as you remember, we can press D to go into our develop module. And you can see on the right hand side here the changes that we've made to the picture already, adjusting the exposure, contrast, colors, and the effect that that's had on the picture. So remember, if you press the backslash, you get the before, let go again for the after. So we can see that there's been a big change to this, but what I want to do now is use masking, and that is going to help us to change colors in different areas rather than affecting the entire image all at once. So this dotted circle in the top right hand corner is where all of your masks live. Now we've got some kind of auto-generated AI based masking available to us, so we can select a subject. Let's try that. And it will look for any subjects in the picture. And as you can see, it's picked our bridge. The red color indicates that this is the area that's being masked. So in the small window up here, you can see in white the area that's being masked, and on the actual picture, it's in red. So it just gives you an idea of what's being masked. Now, Lightroom Classic has done this calculation itself. If there's bits that you want to add to it or take away from it, you can do. So then in the mask up here, click on mask 1 and it will give you the option of adding or subtracting from that mask. So let's say we want to subtract for the moment. You can then choose what you want to use to subtract. So let's go for the brush. And then you can see over here, there's this area of pathway which has been masked, which we don't want it to. That's not part of the bridge. We don't want that to be affected. So using your brackets, your square brackets, the left hand one to go smaller, right hand one to go bigger, you can change the brush size, and then you can just brush, and you can see that the red parts are being removed. We can zoom in. Let's just come off of our mask for the moment and move across. We can go back into our mask again, click on it, back to subtract, and then we can select our brush again, make it a bit smaller. And then you can see on there any bits that you've minused off. So when you hover your mouse over the picture of the brush, you can see the bits that we've affected. And that's our original object selection, which you can again see the red on the path. But when you come away, it's all kind of back to normal. So let's just have a look over this side. And then again, there's some area down here in the water that we would want to get rid of. So let's again select our brush, make it a bit smaller, and then all we do is just paint in. You can see on the brush, it's not the easiest to see here, but on the brush you've got an inner circle and an outer circle, and that's the amount of feathering. So we can change the amount of feathering, going bigger or smaller. Put it all the way out to 100, and you can see that it's adjusting the outside circle. So no feathering, it will just be a solid line, and then up to 100% where it's as big feathering as it can get. Let's go for around 50%, and then we can brush away some more of this. Don't want to take it away from the bridge too much, which is why we've got that feathering, so there's a more even kind of natural looking difference there. So that's got rid of all the bits that we want to. And actually you can see up here there's a small bit on top of the bridge that we can get rid of. There we go, perfect. I think that looks better. Oh, and this leaf over here, get rid of that. There we go. So now we've just got our bridge selected, and now any adjustments that we make will just affect that. So let's zoom back out slightly, and then what we can do is change our exposure, and as you can see, it's just affecting that bit that you've highlighted. Well, you've masked, and let's put that back to normal. So at the moment, we've got our masks selected, and all of our sliders are back to 0. So we saw them just now that had different colors, different amounts on them, but everything resets to 0 because you've created your mask and this is the starting point for it. So what we want to do now is adjust things how we want on here. If the masking, the overlay distracts you a bit, you can always turn that off. Or if you want it a different color, you can choose a color here. But when you start adjusting things, the mask automatically disappears and then you can see any changes that you make. So I wouldn't really leave it like this, but just to highlight how well you can change colors, and that's just changing the temperature on here. So we can just, so that's slightly cooler than it was to begin with. We can change the tint, slightly more green or magenta, and you can see the difference that makes. So what other masks do we have? If you go to create new mask, you can select the sky, select the background, select any people or different objects, as well as a brush, a linear gradient, a radial gradient. So what would you use some of these things for? So let's select sky to begin with. And again, Lightroom does a good job of selecting that area of sky. And then again, you've got your different sliders here. So we can make the sky more blue by making it cooler, more very unnatural by making it warmer, but somewhere in between. We can change the exposure. So if you want to be able to see more of the clouds and things, you can adjust the whites and make it just transform it into more, what I would tend to do is make it into more how it looked on the day. But you can make all sorts of changes to this. You can add texture to it. All of these tools under this section here are for just that area of the mask. So if we come back out of our masking, you go back to your normal tools and everything on here will adjust the entire image. So that's how you use masks in order to manipulate your picture and just change little bits and pieces about it. Then, like I said, you've got different options for the masks that you want. So something that is quite useful is the linear gradient. So you can just click and drag and you can see that that will affect the entire image, but in the area that you want. There's a stronger effect up at the top of the picture and less as we're going down. You can move that around, you can change the angle of it, you can change where the feathering occurs, you can make all sorts of changes on there in order to get it affecting the bits that you want. You can have it intersecting with other masks like we did just now with the adding and subtracting. So let's add one this time. So let's add a radial gradient this time as well. So this is a circle or a oval, however you want it. And then we can move that up here so that when you see that together, you've got the straight edge of the linear gradient and then the curved edge of the radial gradient. So you've got the two different options. You can cover different areas. So more of the image itself is masked. So let's see how that changes things. So again, the bigger changes on here make it a lot easier to see, and you can see the area that's being affected by those two different masks intersecting with each other. But let's put that back to where it was. Maybe brighten it up just slightly. There we go. What else have we got? We have got color ranges and luminance ranges. So color ranges, you pick a color. Again, you can see everywhere that has been highlighted by that. You can choose how strict your color masking is so that you can affect the bits that you want to. And then again, you can change your settings just for that. So as you can see, the possibilities are endless, and this is just Lightroom. This is something that you can easily do and affect all sorts of different parts of your picture in different ways, change it how you want it to, and put your creative stamp on it. I hope you've learned something today. I'm going to be going away and practicing with my masks, seeing what else I can effect in my images and using them a bit more than I normally would. I hope you've learned something as well. As always, if you have any questions, any comments, leave them down below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you again next week for more of my photography journey. So have a great week. Bye.